Welcome back to Control Alt Lead, the podcast from computing where we talk to IT leaders about what's moving in the market. Today I'm very lucky to be joined by Leon Butler, who is IBM's CEO for the UK and Ireland. So Leon, thanks so much for joining me, and perhaps we can have a little background about yourself and your work with IBM.
No, thanks, Tom, and it's really great to be with you today as well, so thank you. So, as Tom said, I'm Leon Butler, UK and Ireland CEO of IBM. I currently run UK and Ireland, and previously, for the last 2 years, I was actually Worldwide Vice President of IBM's Data and AI Sales and Strategy. So although I'm a Brit, I spent a lot of time on the plane and going around the world as we launched a number of our AI offerings, one of them being, the main one obviously being watsonx. And previously to that, I actually spent 4.5 years in Oracle, and then previously to that, 19 years in IBM as well. So I've done the rounds, Tom, done the rounds.
Yeah, plenty of experience. And strategy is a great one to talk about, because that's the first thing I'd like to ask you about. IBM recently acquired two really pretty significant companies, which was DataStax and HashiCorp. So how does that fit into at IBM, your broader strategy, especially as it relates to UK customers?
Yeah, thank you. And it's been a great acquisition trail, to be honest. If we kind of look back with Aptio, Turbonomic, Instana, Software AG as well, and we're now great to welcome HashiCorp and DataStax to the family. And how it fits in, and I always kind of start with this: by 2028, generative AI is expected to lead to about 1 billion new cloud-native applications, huge number, as AI products. And now supporting this scale requires infrastructure automation far beyond the capacity of the workforce alone. And really, HashiCorp's products automate and they secure the infrastructure that underpins hybrid cloud applications and generative AI. The HashiCorp acquisition continues our broad investments in automation software, and I mentioned a couple of those, to really help organizations optimize their IT spending and lower costs. And we're seeing a huge demand for optimizing IT spending and lowering costs. And in particular, we look at automating infrastructure creation, so with Terraform, automating application configuration, so with Ansible as an example, automating secrets management with Vault from HashiCorp as well, automating cloud spend with Cloudability. We're seeing a lot of clients under a huge amount of pressure around that at the moment. And then automating IT resources with Turbonomic. And we feel with the addition of HashiCorp's offerings, we really do believe that we will have the leading platform for enterprise automation.
Okay.
Now, if I pivot to DataStax, it was about a month ago, I think it was around February 25th, that we actually announced the intent to acquire DataStax, which is an AI and data solutions provider. It was actually one of our OEM relationships. We have a number of OEM relationships, like Cloudera, Mongo, SingleStore, etc. And DataStax technology will really enhance IBM's watsonx portfolio of products, helping really our clients unlock value from vast amounts of unstructured data. And I mentioned watsonx, and maybe we could just go into a little bit about that. watsonx, we have watsonx.ai, our studio for training, validating, and tuning models. We've got watsonx.data, our fit-for-purpose lakehouse, watsonx.governance, to be able to govern the whole AI lifecycle. watsonx Orchestrate to build and deploy and manage agents and manage those agents, as well as the process kind of orchestration and workflows. And watsonx Assistance as well. So that's our portfolio when I refer to watsonx. And there's no doubt that businesses are really struggling to harness valuable unstructured data from across their enterprise. And it's critical for powering generative AI. And as I've seen over the last couple of years, certainly in my last role, it's one of the biggest inhibitors to an AI use case. And without tools to properly ingest and manage the untapped data, costly generative AI projects will really fail to deliver the full potential. And I think a lot of people have seen a number of pilots across the industry that just haven't quite come to fruition. And even if I kind of quote this, even 70% of companies with high-performing generative AI initiatives experience data-related difficulties actually harnessing that information, as an example. And that's according to McKinsey. But it's estimated that just 1% of enterprise data is represented in today's AI models. which is an amazing statistic. And combining the capabilities of DataStax with IBM's What's Next portfolio, we really truly believe that it will help clients address this challenge. DataStax vector database, it really excels in harnessing unstructured enterprise data and accelerating its time to value. And when we see kind of the term vector used, it's normally around RAG kind of use cases as well, embedding into documents into a vector database. So we think that will be a great addition to the family, and it's also got a Langflow solution which helps provide kind of graphical low-code design environments for generative AI apps as well. So we're pretty pleased with it, and hopefully I've articulated how it fits into our portfolio.
Yeah, I think so, very much so. And obviously, talking about AI a lot, it's something that everyone wants to talk about. Everyone is talking about.
Yeah.
And everyone wants to hear about. So, another question on that: IBM has been very vocal about the use of small language models. So, AI models trained on small amounts of very specific data. Where do you see them sitting alongside larger models for business users?
Well, just the first part there, it is great that AI is on the conversation piece. I always joke that many years ago, when I have people around for dinner, maybe IT wasn't such an interesting topic, but AI is certainly always a conversation now. So it's maybe a little bit more popular. But listen, the AI opportunity is huge, and McKinsey really again predicts that AI would create about $4 trillion of additional productivity value by the end of the decade. Huge productivity gains. However, there are really two big challenges which are holding organizations back from capitalizing on generative AI. Many of the large language models are general purpose, one size fits all, with lots of public data that's not relevant for enterprises. And what they really need is AI to perform tasks in specific domains. And we've got many proprietary large language models that are black box type models that fail to provide a level of transparency into the data used to train the model, or they don't provide the ability to tune the model with your enterprise data as well. So you don't need 750 billion parameter type models or cities full of kit to ultimately use these models. It's a very, very different approach, and it's something that we pivoted in very, very early in the industry. And really, when we look at our clients, enterprises need AI models to be efficient, high performant, but really minimizing cost. And they have to be transparent. So the enterprise or our clients actually know what data is in the models. And they need the flexibility to choose which and how to work with those particular generative AI models. And I mentioned about the 1% enterprise data sitting in foundation models. Increasingly, this will unlock full value for AI enterprises. But again, they need transparent models that they can trust before adding their own data. And the analogy I always give, Tom, is, and you may have heard it before, is the opaque test tube, where you've got a test tube you can't see into. There's a little bit of liquid in there that represents maybe the data that the model's been trained on. You put your own liquid in, it's your own data into it, you shake it up. You'd never drink it because you don't know what's already in it. And it's very much the same with data. You shouldn't be mixing your data with something that you don't know what it's been trained on as well.
So we're seeing a lot now about the rise of sovereignty and data localization, especially with AI sovereignty. So I have to ask you, Leon, how is IBM addressing these regulatory challenges?
Thanks, Tom. As IBM, we're helping clients adhere to regulatory requirements through solutions built into our own technology by offering both flexibility and choice. IBM Cloud provides clients with the flexibility to choose where they would like to store their data in order to really comply with those relevant regulations. IBM's hybrid cloud capabilities allows organizations to house data and workloads where they need to be to maintain security, privacy, and compliance standards, whether it's on-premise, on public cloud, or at the edge. So again, as a hybrid company, we give clients choice. And then lastly, to address it, as part of our portfolio, and I mentioned What's Next earlier on, our What's Next governance component of IBM's What's Next portfolio allows clients to build in controls that ensure data and AI models adhere to regulatory compliance requirements and internal company policies as well, so they can spot this and mitigate against any bias and drift. But a combination of those would certainly deal with any form of sovereignty or regulatory requirements.
Let's stick with the AI topic. I've got one more question on AI before I move on to something else. We're very much in this age of agentic and generative AI. It's very much a period of experimentation. So how should UK IT leaders like CIOs, CTOs, even CISOs, how should they rethink automation and skills development in the modern era?
Yeah, so from an agentic AI piece, it's a topic that's on everyone's lips at the moment, and agentic AI and automation really will help enterprises unlock huge amounts of productivity gains. And these technologies are helping us automate a lot more of the repetitive, lower value tasks. And one of the examples I always give, and we call it our client zero story, and we have a number of client zero stories, is IBM's HR agent. And our agent handles around about 11 million interactions annually and resolves 94% of our cases. So it doesn't just answer them or query them, it actually resolves them as well using AI and automation. So huge productivity gains. And this gives professionals more time back to do more human-centric, higher value tasks, such as working with clients or being creative. And with AI agents and automation handling a growing share of tasks, business leaders will definitely need to consider how job roles will evolve and what new skills colleagues will need. And again, if I refer it back or tie it back to the kind of the HR agent that I just mentioned a little while ago on this one as well, certainly with an IBM with our clients, what you're seeing now is a different type of skill sets coming up and reskilling, but not necessarily losing jobs, people embracing AI to actually go to that higher augmented kind of position on it as well. So our HR professionals will now be on top of the existing roles, data scientists and conversational specialists. From an HR perspective, we used to have people would phone, and I'd always call it a how-to task. How do you deal with a transfer of an employee, as an example? And what we don't, or anyone wants, is colleagues and people spending huge amounts of time in back-end HR systems, ERP systems, or anything else. We want to basically give the ability of using natural language to query something or to get something solved. And what we're seeing is that we'll get a productivity gain from that every single way, rather than just spending all that time on those back-end systems. But also those people that understood the processes, those how-to type of individuals, actually become really powerful, and that allows them to actually help us enhance our processes further as well. So it's quite exciting. And from an IBM perspective, we see an increase in a band for HR individuals, as an example. So their level that they are at the moment, or what they've gone to as well. So skills are very, very important when it comes to that. And we do have free-to-access skills from an IBM. I know others do as well, but we think that's really, really important. So free-to-access digital training programs, and we have IBM Skills Build, and it's playing an important part in really upskilling people, regardless of age, seniority, or location, in essential tech skills as well. So exciting times.
Yeah, very exciting times. Thank you so much there, Leon, for that very comprehensive answer. Let's move on to another subject now from AI, which I know some people will be like, no, just talk about AI, but there is other stuff going on in the industry. So one of those being quantum computing. Now, IBM has a very long history with quantum, even though it always seems to be just around the corner. So when are UK businesses, in your opinion, going to start seeing real-world benefits from quantum computing?
I get really passionate about this as well. Quantum is so exciting. AI is exciting. Quantum is really exciting. And answering your question, new research suggests that quantum computing presents the UK with a huge opportunity to boost productivity and GDP growth across the economy. And we will see. And we just released an Oxford economics report, actually, which we co-sponsored, actually, which revealed that quantum computing should increase productivity across the UK economy by about 7% annually by 2024. And the reports that actually kind of delves down to it is that that 7% could deliver around 2.5, or maybe just under, I think it's about 212 billion pounds worth of GDP benefits, or £7,500 per UK household on that one. And key sectors such as pharma and defence we'll see huge productivity gains when it comes to that as well. I'll certainly get to the timescales of it, and then maybe pivot back to the use cases on it. But IBM's quantum development roadmap sets out really key milestones, and we plan to achieve in the next coming years. We believe by 2029 will be a real inflection point when we have quantum systems that are free from errors. And that will really open up new capabilities and applications for quantum computing. And by 2033, we expect to have quantum systems that can unlock the full potential of quantum computing. Again, really exciting. It doesn't mean that quantum is going to replace classical computing wholesale. There's going to be a continuous evolution of classical computers working with AI and quantum until we have quantum-centric computers. And I was going to delve on, but I don't know if you're interested in some of the use cases around quantum. Sometimes people ask about that, but depending on time, we can delve down that road, or we can go somewhere.
Yes, please. No, go ahead, because I think it's a really fascinating topic. So yeah, I think people would love to hear some of the use cases. I certainly would.
Yeah. Well, certainly, and you know, in the UK, we work with companies such as HSBC, Deloitte, EY, Vodafone, Unilever, as an example, in the quantum strategies and applications. And here in the UK's National Quantum Computing Centre joined the IBM Quantum Network in 2023, providing UK researchers with cloud access to IBM's Quantum Premium plan, including IBM's fleet of quantum computers. And it's really with an aim to drive new research when it comes to directions in the use of quantum computing. And when we talk around the use cases, and by the way, we have 20 quantum computers. IBM's got a fleet of 20 quantum computers that more than 250 organizations actually access through our quantum network and through access of IBM throughout IBM Cloud. But if we kind of pivot towards some of the use cases, you've got healthcare as an example. And if I talk around clients, Cleveland Clinic, we're working with to combine classical computing with quantum algorithms to understand the behavior of cells of diseased tissue at the individual level, with the hope of eventually creating better treatments. We're working with AstraZeneca in conjunction with STFC Hartree, and we're using quantum to explore how we could improve molecular modeling accuracy and accelerate drug development as well. And there's just been a recent report by AstraZeneca and STFC as well in March. If we move towards financial services, we're working with HSBC and working with them to really start using quantum computing for pricing, portfolio optimization, to advance its net zero goals, to mitigate risks, including identifying and addressing fraudulent activity. If we look at energy, we're working with E.ON around an algorithm for managing risks from weather events, for example. And then a number of governments as well, so certainly Basque country in Spain, and also the Japan IBM Quantum Partnership in Tokyo. So we just see huge amounts of capabilities and potential for quantum, and again, it's really exciting.
Brilliant. You mentioned a few key dates there. So I think the last one you talked about was 2033, by the time of it being sort of commercially available and ready for use. Now, the National Cybersecurity Centre here in the UK has suggested a date of 2035 where businesses need to be quantum safe. So do you think that's too conservative?
Honestly, Tom, the time to start preparing for quantum security threats is now. You know, in 2023, the GSMA, which is the telco industry body, published a report which found that by 2032, it's widely considered that we'll have quantum computers capable that pose a risk to current cryptography and encryption techniques. And that is why we've already, IBM are offering cryptography that will be safe from quantum computers, and working with companies, Vodafone as an example, in their quantum security strategy. And maybe for the listeners, quantum safe cryptography really uses algorithms based on mathematical problems that are believed to be computationally difficult or even impossible, even for a quantum computer to solve as well. So going back around it, the answer is absolutely now. Okay,
brilliant. Perhaps I'll just ask you one more question then, Leon, because we are running up on time here. So I think you've semi-answered this one already, but If you had to name an industry trend that you think that UK IT leaders right now are underestimating, looking past, or maybe they're even just missing it entirely, what would that be?
If you don't mind, I'll answer it in two ways. I mean, the agentic piece, I think, is something that is very much here. It's on, as I said, it's on everyone's lips at the moment. I think there is confusion as to what agentic is. I think people refer to agents, co-pilots, assistants as an example. But again, having an agent that can control a series of agents and using natural language to query something, where you have AI that's able to kind of work out where to go. So it could be that back-end ERP system I mentioned, combining it with an email, and maybe to bring it to life. Certainly here, if I wanted to do a talent review across my leadership team, I'd be able to just go through our particular agent there to say, I'd like to do this. It will send out an email to my team. It will give historic information for their team members. It will have drop downs to say yes, particular ratings or rankings or history and that sort of thing. It will then package it up, bring it back, and then produce those results with my own team for me as well. And there's a team we can go analyze that. To be able to do that means that agent is working out multiple places to go, and that process orchestration, that process workflow piece is really important. And when you get that right, you drive huge productivity savings. And within IBM, as well as our clients, we've driven billions of dollars of productivity savings. So that is one that we're really excited about. We see huge benefit to our clients around that. And most probably that's where I'd go with it as well. I think we talked around some of the things that I think could be missed, but we're coming back around that with regards to AI and data. It is between data and risk. I think it's important that clients do understand that, and making sure that whatever model, whether it's ours or a third-party one, they're trusted and transparent. And trust and transparency is really key on this one. If you're using citizen data, corporate data, your own data, you need to ensure or have that confidence that ultimately your information is being looked after, it's interacting with a clean model, and actually the institution you're dealing with is able to deal with and spot how that data is being used from source all the way to that AI model, so from tracking all the metadata and the changes through it. And perhaps I'll leave you with this as well. When I mentioned around IBM's products, we do have something called What's Next .governance, which is top right in the IDC Magic Quadrant and others, and it really allows clients to look at not only corporate and regulatory risks, but also drift and bias when it comes to using AI. Really important when you're making decisions, whether it's on making a banking loan, to a decision for a family, to a decision around investment opportunities. Having that alert to say that's not quite right, there may be something wrong with the prompt, or there's drift around a particular model, is important. And it really plays back into the sovereignty piece you asked me earlier. I think having that kind of that guardrail around the models and the particular use case around that, I think, is really, really important. So I know I answered it in a couple of ways, but hopefully I put a little bit more colour to it.
You absolutely did. Thank you so much, Leon, and thank you so much for taking the time to join me today when the weather outside, as we can see from behind you, is so beautiful.
Yeah, I'd rather be outside, but maybe that comes later anyway.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Control Alt Lead. Next time, I'll be talking to Alex Rutter, who is the EMEA Head of AI at Google Cloud, about how he's bridging the gap between excited business execs and cautious IT leaders when it comes to AI, AI's black box problem, and how Google plans to compete on AI with Microsoft, which has ready access to users through Copilot and Windows. Until then, as ever, you can head over to computing.co.uk for more IT interviews, research, and analysis. See you again soon.